Today I wanted to talk about comparisons, specifically comparisons in art. And it doesn't really matter what type of artist you are, whether it's a visual artist like myself, or a fabric artist, or a musician. Every artist has that moment or that experience of comparing their artwork, their artistic process, with another artist or artwork. Hi Pogo, my dog wants to play. But a lot of the time, comparison is a double-edged sword. Yes, you get the benefit and the inspiration that comes with comparison, but you also get things like self-doubt and jealousy and a questioning of if your artistic skill is good enough to make it as an artist. For the past couple weeks, I've been making comparisons a lot. And that's because a few weeks ago, I officially decided to close my art mail club. I've been running it for about a year, and I'm gonna release a video exactly why I decided to end it and what I learned. But the long and short of it is I pretty much wanted to focus on some larger projects, some larger aspirations I have. And that means I'm looking at so much outside inspiration of other artists in fields that I want to pursue and exactly how they approached it, and trying to figure out a roadmap for myself. And obviously that comes with a lot of comparisons. But I started to feel these seeds of self-doubt. And you know, self-doubt can be a lot to deal with as an artist. I had built up all this inspiration and motivation within myself over the past year doing this art mail club, and I was going to use it as a springboard into these next projects. But as I was planning my approach to these, I was comparing myself to other artists and artwork, and I just felt that doubt start dragging me down. So I took a step back, I reevaluated, and I said, why am I feeling this way? And through self-reflection, I found an answer in the most unlikely of places, although it is still art, but not related to my visual art. And that was in the Beatles.
Bring 'em on!
I have been listening to the Beatles for as long as I can remember. The second CD I ever got as a kid, I must have been 7 or 8 years old, was #1 by the Beatles, which was just a kind of compilation album of all their #1 hits. So the Beatles have always had such a heavy presence in my life. But I experienced something with the Beatles that I think a lot of fans of different artists, but especially the Beatles, experience. And that is the fact that you can't nail down your favorite album, or at least your favorite album from the Beatles will change throughout your life. But it really got me thinking on the interpretation of art. So it is not some big revelation to realize that once art is released, it doesn't change, but the perspectives that are viewing that art, especially at an individual level, do change. But what I think is so important, and what was kind of a light bulb moment for me, was connecting that reality, that obvious reality, with my own personal aspirations when it came to finding inspiration and motivation through comparing myself to other artists. And what that means to me as someone who is struggling with comparison right now is that no matter how much I feel I can improve my art, or how much it drains me to think I could be better, I come to the realization that art has such inherent value in the process of just existing. From a personal perspective, I can take artwork that I created a long time ago, for example, this piece called "From Nature You Were Birthed," and I can find such value in it that I had no idea was going to exist when I first created it. I can obviously see all these flaws and things I would have changed, but I also see the first glimpses of where my artwork is now in that piece. It was a piece that I had created after about 5 years of not really creating much art. When I created it, it obviously felt good, but the meaning that artwork has to me is so much deeper. And if you look at it on an external level, you don't know what kind of impact your art is going to have on someone that's viewing it. Just as, you know, the Beatles didn't know how impactful each of their songs were going to be when they were writing it, and especially even at the time, a lot of their songs and their albums were released to mixed reviews because they were so experimental. But looking back on it, as someone who's exploring music in its current age, there is no way that they could have known that their creation would be consumed in that way. Comparing yourself to other people promotes growth. It can inspire you and motivate you. But there's obviously these dark, jagged edges of comparison, things like self-doubt and jealousy, that I think a lot of the times hold artists back from creating. It kind of freezes them in this idea that they'll never be as good as what they're seeing. But I think it's important to reframe comparison in your brain for your own art. When you create, you're creating this time capsule for yourself of where you are and where you're heading towards, right? I can look at my old art and see such growth and be inspired through my own art, which is such a privilege to have. And it's not something that you can do if you just consistently be scared of creating because it might not be good enough. You never know how important your artwork might be to someone. You know, maybe you'll release a song and some weird kid when they're 8 years old will listen to it and it will inspire a foundational part of their music taste for the rest of their life. You really don't know just how important your art will be until you create it and you share it with the world and you stand by it. And I think that's so important in today's world of AI and social media. It really feels like some people think that art isn't as valuable as it is. It's truly one of the most valuable things we do as a species is the act of creating. And I think that's going to kind of wrap up this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find some kind of value in it. My name's Faceman Art. I'm a artist that creates art of all things. If you want to follow me, I have my links down below. I also have a Patreon. You can also join as a free member and get a monthly newsletter where you get updates about what I'm working on and stuff. Thank you so much. Also, all the music used in this video was from Totomori's new album. If you like this, consider liking and subscribing. I guess I should also mention that. And take it easy. Keep creating. Peace out.